recording and live. Hey guys, what's up? You already know what it is. You can check out my website, stiloworld.com, when you can enter the metaverse. Today we're at the Momentum podcast. We have our friend Mitch Jackson, amazing person. We got to such a head start that we just started talking. We're we're
We did.
we just started the stream. We started the live. So I want to say hello, Mitch. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Stilo, so good to be here, Stilo. And it's funny how before we go live, the things we're talking about, music, mutual friends, how people we know are leveraging these different platforms, how different worlds are coming together in the metaverse and connecting for the first time. You're
Ah,
doing that. I'm doing that. It's so exciting right now to be alive, to leverage this technology, and to do the things that I see you talking about each week. Dude, you're killing it. You're killing it. I think you might have found a new occupation as a
man.
professional interviewer.
Man, thank you, and likewise, man. You are a very, very
Mm,
special person. I've
thank you.
never, you are really giving back to the community in the metaverse, in the social gaming platform called Spatial. And it's
Great
basically,
platform.
yeah, it's gamifying the way we can educate, teach, interact, play, listen to music, trade information, edit music, edit arts, edit works together. You can share your screen. It's like a 3D Discord. Got the pleasure of meeting you in there and then seeing
Yeah,
you on LinkedIn and seeing all the amazing value that you were bringing there and
thank you.
to see that you were bringing a show weekly to Spatial was just a huge plus for me. I was ready to sign up. So,
And look, let me give you a shout out in that when I go into spaces, and for those of you not familiar with the metaverse, you click and you go into a venue, a building, an art gallery, a bar, a tattoo parlor, a DJ set, right? And the stuff you're creating is just top notch. It's beautiful. It's interesting to be in there. It totally reflects your personality. And what you and I need to figure out is when you're out surfing in the morning, when I'm doing a paddle around the island at Dana Point, I just got back from a paddle, everybody. So that's why I'm kind of casual. We need to figure out how to bring our surfing and paddleboarding into the metaverse in real time so we can be out there. Maybe maybe it'll happen. Like, these are the meta glasses, right, that I got for my birthday. The kids got me these. Very cool, everybody. But maybe there'll be a point in time where we put these on and we tap a button or swipe back, and we're in those virtual spaces, much like what you're experiencing and I'm experiencing right now in Spatial or in some of the other platforms. I can't wait to see all this happening in the next year, but there are a lot of legal issues. There are a lot of legal challenges. With every opportunity comes a concern. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today is what do our fellow creators, entertainers, entrepreneurs, what do we need to think about right now in these new spaces, right?
absolutely. Uh, we're definitely in a place that is very, very rarely been stepped on. This is a new wave, and here we are, all at the intersection, on the wave, on the cusp of it all. So it's great
Yeah,
to see somebody like you, with so much advice and knowledge and research and data put in to be on the cutting edge. Um,
thank you.
yeah. Uh, so in your opinion, how like now we have AI is here, and it's here, it's been here, but it's really just incredible how fast it's getting better. It has a memory and it's scraping the internet now. Um, how how is it intersecting with the development of content creators in the Web3 space? What are you seeing develop in the new internet?
Incredible. To give context, quickly to give context to my answer to your question, I've been an early user of what we term social media back around 2006, 7, 8, and moving forward, whether it's traditional Twitter, X platform, whether it's live video, fast forward to today. So I've pretty much seen it all. Another advantage, Stilo, is as a lawyer, we get to see what people are playing with, what our clients are experimenting with 8 to 12 months before it ever shows up on your phone. So I have a pretty good feeling for what's going to be coming out over the next 8 to 12 months, all kinds of legal issues, right? So your question is spot on because this is what everybody's focusing on. moving forward. In other words, whether you're looking at it through the lens of a creator or an artist, what do you need to pay attention to? Whether you're looking at this from someone that's hosting a platform site like Spatial, what do you need to be aware of when you've got users and third party resources being brought into your platform? When you have guests that you've never met before showing up on stage, or you're giving them a tour through a gallery or whatever it may be, and they say something live, or they do something live, or they share something live on your stream, what are some of the legal ramifications of all the above? So I bring context from the real world into these spaces. And the bottom line is, you're right, Stilo, it's changing like unbelievably fast, unlike anything we've seen before. I was on the AI panel for the American Bar Association and National Bar Association President's Conference in Chicago. I think it was last month, maybe 2 months ago. And our panel, there were three of us on stage, and we had, I think, the most popular panel discussion of that week's conference, right? Everybody's looking at AI. Everybody's wondering, how can we bring it into our lives? And let me just say that, as you mentioned or alluded to, the train has left the station. It's here. It's here, and it's doing some amazing things. But I think what everyone should probably focus on first right now, and I'm going to talk about this on Wednesday at our Web3 Wednesday meetup that I do each week, is I'd like to see business owners and creators, designers, artists, platform hosts, website, newsletter, Discord, X Space users, I'd like to see them update their disclaimers and their waivers and their privacy policies, because this new technology is changing everything. With the new opportunities come new liabilities. And I think what's important to do is update these documents. And I don't want to do anyone's documents. I don't enjoy doing documents. That's not why I'm bringing this up. But see a lawyer that you trust and have them review all of your documents behind your platforms, because I do see that as being one of the biggest liability risk areas, Stilo, for people in our community that need to be updating. Right now with AI, it's generating responses to chatbot questions. What if those responses aren't correct and someone's using your AI bot on your website, on your platform? Who's liable? Who's responsible for this? You, the AI bot provider, or a third party host? When we come in and someone joins me on stage at an event and I say something that is either inappropriate or defamatory or inaccurate, and the viewers rely upon that, who's responsible if somebody experiences a business loss because of it? You and I both know that in the NFT space, Bitcoin ordinal space, digital artifact or asset spaces, there are all types of smart contracts and licensing agreements and ownership issues that really need to be understood by the creators and then documented in writing for the end users. So for me, that's the starting point, starting to document the relationships between you and your customers or clients, and documenting the relationships between you and your third party suppliers to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Absolutely. So it sounds like there's a lot more communication going on, a lot more checkpoints. We're double checking, we're collaborating with lawyers, obviously, and AI together. I love taking these ideas of like taking documents, putting them through AI, and maybe putting a revision on it, and then taking it to a lawyer and asking, "What do you think about this? Is that sound right to you?"
I think if the prompt on the AI is a good prompt,
Right.
and the AI, it's garbage in, garbage out. So you want to be careful about that. And if you don't mind, what I can share, because I'm going to circle back, this is really important, is I actually put together on a friend's free platform a digital book, and it's called AI in Law. And people can get to it by going to mitchjackson.xyz. The reason I'm bringing it up is chapter 3 is all about prompting. And every time we see a new prompt technique or a new approach to prompting that will help you, Stilo, do what you just said and help that AI generate a good, reasonable response that you can use as a starting point. We share it in chapter 3. And this book has been shared, by the American Bar Association, or updating it daily. But here's a real world example of what you just brought up. Let's say I hire you to create my metaverse venue, or I hire you to create uh, a song about my product or service. And I use that venue and I use that song for the next 6 months. All of a sudden, I get a cease and desist letter from someone that you and I have never heard of before. And they claim that there's a note in the song or a run in the song that actually someone else wrote. And while you didn't intentionally take it and use it, the AI served it up to you when you were mixing that song for me unknowingly. The next question is, what do we do next? Is there any liability? Is there any copyright violations and things like this? So the reason I'm bringing this up is you and I could be doing something in good faith to make our businesses better, to make our communities happier, to add more value around the world. But one of us may have inadvertently done something that could ruin our day tomorrow. And so that's why it's really important that we have these open conversations about this stuff, because we all want to make sure that we're making smart decisions, that we understand the risk, we're balancing the risk versus benefits. And I can say these things because I've got friends that are DJs that I've talked to in at length about these issues, and we talked about them before we went live. So that's why I think this is really important. It's because it affects all of us each and every day, regardless of what we do for a living, whether you're a DJ, whether you're a metaverse space designer, whether you're an attorney, a consultant. I think, this affects all of us, especially the artists and creators.
Absolutely. Um, I wanted to go back a little bit. What so when you saw social media in 2006, I have a feeling here, Mitch, that you're a man early on trends. And
Yeah,
when you found social media, what was it like for you? What did you think? What similarities are you seeing? Because I want to know about maybe like the dot-com bubble when the internet was
absolutely.
first here, and then that it had a huge spike and a huge crash. You know, Amazon went from like $13 to $120, and then back to 13.
Dude, I
Um,
was riding that. I was riding that hard back in the 90s.
wow. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
similarities are you seeing here, and what kind of things do you see
Great
coming
question.
that are kind of repetitive here as we?
Great question. History repeats itself,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I grew up on a ranch in Tucson. My mom and dad had a guest ranch, and guests would come from all over the world and stay for a week and play cowboy or cowgirl, right? So I watched my mom and dad interact with people, and they had really good people skills. When guests were at the ranch and sitting at the bar at night, they didn't talk about work, they talked about family and things of interest, right? When I became a lawyer back in 1986 here in Southern California, it was hard breaking into the legal community. There are a lot of really good lawyers here in Southern California, and I'm trying to figure out how can I like get my foot in the door. And I'm going to all the bar association meetings, but I'm not really standing out. It's like nothing's clicking. Well, I grew up riding and racing motocross, and a couple of years into my practice, I grabbed a couple other lawyers I met at the courthouse who also rode, and we started going down to Elsinore on Wednesday mornings and doing laps. Right before you know it, we have like 8 or 10 lawyers every Wednesday morning. A couple of judges were in there, and we do our laps and just had a good time. But we started referring business to each other. We show up at the courthouse, and people would come, "Hey, you're that guy that rides motocross. Let's grab lunch," and then a new business relationship would form. When digital came along in 1996, we put up our first website, and with 8 months, we had our first $1 million case come in through the internet by somebody that didn't even own a computer. She saw our www.jacksonwilson.com, whatever it was back then, and she goes, "Oh, they must be ahead of the step, ahead of the game. I'm going to give them a call on their 800." But I've never been accused of being the brightest bulb in the lamp. But I realized back then in '96, there's something to this internet thing. All right, fast forward to social media. Being early on social allowed me to communicate instead of one to one across my desk, but 1 to 10, 1 to 100, 1 to 10,000 on some shows, whether it's live video, whether it's podcasting, and things like this. I was on one of the first live video shows called Spreecast back in the day. It was a 3G world. It was ahead of its time. Spreecast was created by the co-founder of StubHub, Jeff Floor, and so he rolled this out, and I was a part of that, and it really helped open up my world. I'm telling you this and your audience because being early in these spaces helped me build my brand.
Right.
even more important, it helped me connect with people I wanted to be around, like really cool people from all around the world. And that's hard to do when you're in your office all day. Fast forward to today with Web3, with the metaverse, with AI, what I'm seeing is all of this 100x. The level of enthusiasm, the number of opportunities, the ease of connecting and having those intimate conversations in the metaverse, because it does feel like you and I are there, especially when we have our
Totally,
headsets on.
totally,
It's a very personal interaction,
totally.
so much so, everybody, that I've got companies that are changing their HR policies and procedures to remind employees and executives and management, hey, even though you're in the metaverse, it's still a company, event. But what I'm noticing is all of the benefits from being early on the motocross track, doing something different with lawyers, early on the internet, early in social media, and now we're still early in Web3, AI, and the metaverse. We're just getting started. It allows you to connect with people. It allows you to do things that people don't expect DJs or lawyers to do. And for our friends that are artists, for example, it allows them to really share their work, not only locally here in Laguna Beach, California, and I'm south of Laguna Beach, but also globally around the world via digital artifacts of one kind or another. And I see what you and I are doing right now in these spaces changing everything. I think blockchain and AI, smart contracts, it's going to change how we practice law. It's going to change how we have communications with people on the other side of the world. It's going to change how we show ownership of a piece of art. I was in Laguna Beach 2 months ago. My wife and I were looking at different art galleries, and I was talking with one of the owners about the tragic Lahaina fire and all the artwork that was destroyed, all those galleries. It's just a tragedy.
Mm,
And what they're doing in Laguna Beach is they are bringing in professional photographers and shooting high resolution images of their artwork, and they're putting it on the blockchain.
mm.
And it's like a backup product to purchasing the real piece of art. You also get on your phone, whether it's an ordinal, whether it's an NFT, on a different,
Wow.
and it's a backup, but it's also a new benefit that the buyer of the art can go to a barbecue on a Sunday afternoon and say, "Listen, I wish I could bring you home and show you what's hanging over my fireplace, but I've got something even better.
Yeah.
Check this out," right? And so it just opens up a lot of new mindsets and opportunities uh, in today's world, which is why I'm so excited and so active with doing what you see me doing, because we are
Yes.
just getting started,
Yeah.
and AI is going to expedite all of the above, right? You already know this. So,
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. The blockchain gives us a power it's essentially that first step to living forever. You know,
mm,
it's definitely, the metaverse, NPCs, AI, prompting. AI now knows the way I speak, so when I prompt, I'm like, can you speak
ah,
how I speak? And how would you say this? And it's literally how I would say it from the 2 years of me interacting with it. So, it's like I use it every day for everything, and
yeah,
it's incredible. It's done incredible things, and the blockchain has done incredible things as well. And I think that right there, that Laguna Beach project, like that is incredible because no matter what, like that art will live no matter what happens to it physically. So
absolutely.
that's
It's
a
easier to trade. It's easier to view. It's easier to see.
and
Look, here's what's going to,
I can't wait. I'm
you
sorry.
know,
I can't wait
yeah.
for real estate to get on the blockchain. I want to see real estate deals backed by the blockchain. I want to see things, everything just
Ah.
run around like that. Excuse
check
my
out check
enthusiasm.
out my friend's company, Nick Rishwain, who's a VP of experts.com. They have a platform called Cougar DAO, like Cougar, like Lion DAO. And what they've done is they've already bought and sold several different pieces of real estate on the chain.
Yes.
Because of existing laws, there had to be some traditional, off-chain transactions. But if everyone wants to see like how people are doing real estate right now, check out Cougar DAO. It's pretty cool. And I think what's going to happen, what I'm excited about, like I'm watching our clients do some of these things, is within the next, let's say 18 to 24 months, maybe 2 to 3 years out, maybe, you're going to be able to pick up your phone, go to voice, tap, and you're going to be able to say, create a metaverse venue that has XYZ in it. I want it to look like the Wild West or the most modern law firm you can think of. I want the sun setting when you look out the window. I want some low music playing, and I want. I'll be having a conversation with a group of gentlemen from Paris who don't speak English, and so I want to activate the real time instant audio translation so that
Right.
there's no delay. And I also want to bring up a PowerPoint series on the 10 talking points to XYZ, and literally within 30 seconds, it's done. Right? That's to me what I'm really looking forward to, and it's happening right now. It's in the works.
Yeah. I've always been
Wow, it's like
I agree. And just seeing the first step of that being maybe like AI video. I've always wanted
yeah,
to kind of dabble in cinematography, and I feel like since I create the music, why not create some really cool visuals that I would see. And I
love it.
think AI video is super cool. And so I just found one this morning that sounded pretty cool. And it's free, and it's like 1280 by 720, like really good resolution, and pretty powerful. They give you about 6 seconds of video if you prompt. It's called
Nice.
Minimax. So definitely check that out. So thank you. All right. So I have some more questions for you. We got
Sure.
right here. So
I'll keep my answers short and simple.
oh no, I love it because you make it so I ask like I have these questions for you, but you knock them out in your beautiful answers, and it's a
Right.
great way to just listen and learn, because it's engaging. So thank you for that. Um, so strategic legal preparation for the future from a legal standpoint, what strategic steps should entrepreneurs take in Web3 today to prepare for any upcoming shifts? We know that things might change. Things can change in with AI regulation. We know Europe had a law
hmm
maybe that you have to have a watermark.
hmm
If you're using AI. Can you speak? Can you talk to us?
California.
Yeah.
I mean, California. Last week we had five new deepfake laws,
Ooh.
and this or 2 weeks ago, and I shared them on LinkedIn. And last week we had three more
And can you explain
that were
deep fake for maybe the audience that
sure,
doesn't know what
sure.
that
So
is?
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it can mean a lot of things, but what we're talking about is you watch a video and AI created it. It's not really the person on the video, or it has someone who doing something illegal or saying something that they never said. Or the three recent laws this past week that Gavin Newsom signed into law had to do with pornography, using, putting someone's face on someone else's body without their consent in a pornographic type of fashion and sharing it online through AI. Um, yeah, so the answer to your question has to do with, I think, business owners, platform providers, anybody involved in the chain of distribution, whether it's commercial or private, right? That art gallery in Laguna Beach, or you and I in a metaverse space, we need to understand and appreciate these dynamics. The first thing is, what are the terms of service agreement? What is the terms of service agreement? What is the contract that controls your rights as a user of a particular platform, whether it's OpenSea, whether it's spatial, whether it's some other platform? Where are you putting your content? Where are you stepping into the metaverse? Where are you sharing your AI auto generated, lyrics and music? And what are your rights and remedies? Who has ownership? Are there any licensing issues? I just posted today on LinkedIn. There's a company that's just spending a lot of time on marketing because I see their ads on all of my platforms right now, like all of my platforms. And if you dive, it's an AI bot company. Our AI bots will do everything for you. Okay. I don't know if it's quite there yet, but that's what's being said. And when you dig into the TOS agreement, it says anything you share with those AI bots, anything can be used by them to train their LLM.
Right.
They can share this content with third parties around the world. So if you're a company using this AI assistant to help you manage your calendar, design a contract, book a dinner reservation, and pay for it with a credit card or crypto digital currency, anything you're putting into this thing could be shared with third parties around the world. That doesn't sound like a very good idea to me. So that was just a reminder to check the TOS agreements, right? That's the first thing I think everyone needs to do. The other thing they need to do is when they're doing business, when they're selling art, when they're creating music on these platforms, it's a really good idea to first create a limited liability company or corporation and do business as a legal entity so that God forbid something happens and you find yourself at the wrong end of a lawsuit or a dispute or a claim. These corporate entities, when they're set up correctly and when they're managed and run correctly, they do offer a liability protection, separating your business liabilities from your personal assets, right? Your dogs, your surfboards, your paddleboards, your bank accounts. And I think that what you and I see, and I see this every day, most people aren't using corporate entities to do business in these new environments. And it's probably one of the most prudent things you can do. At the same time, with our clients, what we're doing is they're expanding their business liability coverage. They're reaching out to their insurance agents and they're saying, listen, we're not just selling products and widgets through the mail anymore. We're actually offering them through the metaverse. We're actually offering AI services that complement our products or services. Can we expand our liability insurance coverage to include claims relating to these new tools and whistles and products and services? And I know this isn't sexy stuff to talk about, but the reality is it's very, very important that anyone watching this at least pay attention to these three areas, because the reality is we don't know what some of the outcomes of these cases are going to be. They're complicated. I'm talking about AI copyright. We
Yeah.
don't know if you come into one of our metaverse spaces and you post something on the wall or you say something that's defamatory towards a competitor. We're not sure what the consequences are legally. Okay, it's not going to be okay. But who has jurisdiction? In other words, if I'm in California and somebody pops in from Australia and does
Hmm.
something wrong in my metaverse space, who has jurisdiction? Is it California? Is it Australia? How can I hold someone responsible? Well, if I have the right TOS agreement behind my metaverse space and says that any and all claims by participants using this platform agree to resolve them in Orange County, California, then I have the argument to go in front of a judge in Orange County, California, and compel the attendance of that Australian wrongdoer to either appear and defend himself, herself, or theirself, or I can get a default judgment against them. And all I'm trying to say is, in good faith and with clean hands, if you use agreements the right way, you can eliminate a lot of these issues, also revolving around the different privacy laws that exist, around the world, and different security requirements when it comes to maintaining the data that you're using in business in a safe and secure fashion. So it gets pretty complicated, and so for a 30, that's a 30,000 foot level,
Hmm.
overview, right? I mean, we could dive deep, but it's, those are the things I would pay attention to.
Awesome. Yeah. That's great advice. I think we all need protection, especially,
Uh,
in life, we want to keep our personal assets divided from our uh, creative
from your
business endeavors,
business liabilities.
so yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I gave an example, Stilo, Periscope, Los Angeles. I spoke at the Periscope. For those of you that don't remember Periscope, it was one of the early live video
Oh yeah.
platforms. And I spoke at Periscope New York, Periscope San Francisco, and Periscope LA. My example in LA was it had to do with that liability. And if somebody, a surfboard manufacturer in Laguna Beach, in Dana Point, sells a surfboard to somebody on the East Coast or somebody in Australia, and that surfboard flies off the top of a car and causes a collision or something, who's liable, if anyone, and where's the jurisdiction? And we were talking about this back in the day because we had friends selling surfboards by going live on Periscope from their surf shops, right? Showing the new fins
Wow.
and the new molding, and people from around the world were, they'd bring in a pro surfer and the guy would stand there and or the gal and,
No way.
hey, buy this surfboard, right? It was really cool. but there are certain liabilities. And so what we're doing is we're recommending before anybody's able to click and watch the live stream, have them first click the link to confirm acknowledging the terms of service. And I actually feel that's probably a good idea with what you and I are doing in most of our spaces. Do we do that? Usually not. Our spaces are available 24/7. I kind of balance the risk with the benefits. But Ira Rothman, who's a very well known tech lawyer, and I did a space in Spatial in one of my custom rooms. I think it's called the Urban venue. You've probably seen it. It's really cool. It's dark and grungy, and there's a stage. And what Ira and I did was back when NFTs were the thing, we did a legal Q&A for NFT owners. Like, what do you need to know?
Mm.
What are the security laws? What are the platform TOS agreements? And it was really cool being on stage with Ira, sharing with the community and answering their questions about non-fungible tokens 2 years ago. It was cool. And I
Mm.
could tell that some of the things we were talking about, the artists and creators, the buyers, the investors, hadn't thought about before. Now, for he and I, this was just typical stuff.
Right.
It's just a digital asset now instead of in the real world
Wow.
with some new complicated components. But what we walked away, digitally walked away from that on-stage experience with was we both had a great time. They got to get their questions answered by two lawyers that they probably wouldn't be able to call the office and come in and have an appointment. One of Ira's clients, he's representing somebody, it's the largest criminal case in the history of the planet. I'll
Wow.
just leave it at that. It's a
Wow.
big case right now out of New Zealand. And if you go to Ira's website, you'll see him standing next to Steve Wozniak, who's a friend of his. And the
Wow.
dude's got some big time connections and big time cases. Steve Wozniak, everybody's one of the co-founders of Apple, right?
Yeah.
Apple or
Yeah.
Microsoft?
Yeah. Apple.
Apple, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a while.
Was.
But what I'm saying is, I think these platforms give everybody access to other people they might not otherwise have access to. And that's a two-way street. Like for me, when I'm around artists and creators, it gets my creative juices flowing. It gets me excited.
Mm.
And I'll take the enthusiasm I've gotten from a metaverse space and roll it over into the opening argument I have for trial next week. Like I'll pick up something new I haven't thought about that has
Nice.
nothing to do with the legal industry, right?
Yeah.
And I think, yeah. And so for me, it's a give and take, win-win for all of us.
I've learned so much, from my music sets, what's hot, what's not, how do people feel? Do
Yeah.
they like that you can feel the energy? Is the dance floor, good? Is it not? Like, is it,
Mm.
fun? And the last show was incredible. The chat was popping. Everyone was having a really good time, laughing, screaming. It was really cool. So definitely,
So
yeah.
so you're interacting. So you're looking at your crowd and you're in real time figuring out, is this working? Can I
Yeah.
make it better? When I'm in front of a jury, it's the same thing. Look, jurors aren't going to a club to have fun. They've been subpoenaed to show up at court. They don't want to be there.
Yeah.
They don't like lawyers. They don't want to be away from work. They're not getting paid to be there. And so it's an interesting moment where we want to build rapport and we want to capture their attention. We want
Mm.
to give them permission to make a difference in the community and let them know that this is really a special moment. And I think good lawyers are able to do that
Mm.
from the heart, right?
Mm.
But here's why I'm bringing this up. Your skills as a DJ, looking at the dance floor, my skills in court, picking a jury and trying a case, those apply to the metaverse. The people skills of interacting, of having conversations, of asking open ended questions, and then genuinely caring about the response, about through your avatar, using voice inflection, of movement of your avatar across the stage or working in the crowd, not getting too close to somebody. The traditional people skills that work in your clubs, in my courtrooms, work even better in the metaverse.
Yeah.
And I think when you learn how to tell stories, okay, because anybody can create an avatar and show up. It's creating an avatar, showing up and creating an experience, a memory, being unique, adding the value that you promised your audience you would add I think people that double down on their communication skills in today's world are the same people that are going to find a lot of success in the virtual and metaverse spaces.
I couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. The Web 2, was from companies selling to consumers in a monologue, and now it's a
Mm,
conversation, it's an experience, and it's communal. Definitely believer in
I love that.
digital led growth. I see it growing for me every week. It's been 141 weeks in a row, and all I've
You're
done
killing
is
it.
grown
That's good.
consciousness. I've learned about myself. I've learned how to brand myself. I've learned how to speak better. I've learned how to just really learn so much, and I've really put in the work, and it's an incredible thing. So I want to thank you for being with us,
Who wants to do that?
and I want to thank you for bringing your expertise, bringing it in a fun, immersive way to be in the classroom and see you speak every Wednesday and bring us really cool value and this half hour of awesomeness with a half hour of Q&A. It's been great.
Awesome.
I think you're going to make some headlines in the next little bit here because what you're doing is special. So, thank you so
Oh,
much,
thank you.
Mitch.
Thank you, Stilo. Thank you very much. At this point in my life, I like to fly below radar, to be really honest with
Me
you.
too.
But it's like that's just kind of, but having said that, it's fun to interact with people and try to add value. And I get as much as I give. And a little tip, like I've watched you over the years, and I think one of the reasons that you're experiencing and having success in what you're doing is you speak from the heart. Okay, I tell young trial lawyers you don't have to use big words. You don't have to communicate like an Ivy League lawyer here in Santa Ana, California. What you need to do is generate trust, be transparent, talk about the good points to your case, address the bad issues in the case, but generally become that leader in the courthouse. And I think anyone interested in building out their presence in the metaverse platforms, if they think about honesty and trust and leadership and showing up and supporting others when you can, I personally think all of those things are more important than the technology. I think they're more important than what platform we're on. I think that's what connects us as human beings, and this technology simply amplifies that connection for whatever it is we want to do. So I appreciate being on. This has been fantastic.
Awesome, Mitch. Well, meet up again in 6 months and see what's going on and check out the new
Absolutely.
updates.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll do lunch next time I'm up in LA or up in your area. And but I'll see you before then in the metaverse.
All right, Mitch. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Have a great
All
one.
right. Thanks. Thanks, Steele. Take
All
care.
right.
Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.